Clark, one of the stars, obviously, of Monday Night Countdown, and a guy there on site, Arsene. One of the things I appreciate most about you and what you do both with us and on your podcast, The Pivot, is you explore growth as human beings, where none of us are finished products. And I look at the quarterback for Philly, I look at their head coach, and you think about where they've been at various times in their life. And people want to grade them as if it's a finished project, but our journey, if we're lucky, isn't ever done. And I'm interested in how you view, let's start with the head coach. And that guy that hand up, I thought, man, I'm not sure about this dude. He's a Super Bowl champion now. Where do you begin with him?
You know what I said earlier on tonight to someone? I said, thank God Nick Sirianni didn't fire himself when everyone outside of that building was calling for his job, saying he wasn't behaving in the way that a head coach should behave. The man just kept coaching, and he's a true testament to do the job to the best of your ability until it's no longer your job. You saw his continued growth, not only as a coach when it came to what they did schematically, but when it came to who he was as a person, who he was as a leader of men. And as the season got longer, I started to hear more and more players go to bat for Nick Sirianni. More and more players say how much they loved Nick Sirianni. And when you see a night like tonight where they look like the more prepared team, they look like the hungrier team, they look like the team that was ready to execute the best, it says a lot about who Nick Sirianni is, not only as a coach, but as a man. And now he's a Super Bowl champion.
Yep. I really want to stop it right there because that's exactly right. Nick Sirianni absolutely deserves a tremendous amount of credit. Now, to be very clear, the whole coaching staff does. Fangio, Kellen Moore, and Nick Sirianni. And of course, I'm breaking down all these videos, and we're going to look at it through the defensive eyes, through the offensive eyes, through Jalen Hurts, through Saquon Barkley, through Howie Roseman. Like football is just crazy. It's such a cliche, but it's so true. It's the ultimate team sport, but it's the players, it's the coaches, it's the ownership, it's the management. I mean, it's everything. It really is everything. But to kind of just try to focus specifically on Nick Sirianni, I mean, this is huge because the Philadelphia Eagles were ready to play. And that is Sirianni. That is the head coach. Fangio is the game plan, right? They're the brains. And Kellen Moore, that's the game plan. That's the play calling. But it's Sirianni. Sirianni's the one that's saying, we're going for it. We're doing this. We're being aggressive. Like, he's the one that brings that energy. And you can see the players running up to him, giving him hugs. They're crying. They love him. They absolutely love him. And this team was ready to play. The Detroit Lions against the Washington Commanders were not ready to play. The Baltimore Ravens against the Buffalo Bills were not ready to play. The Washington Commanders against the Philadelphia Eagles were not ready to play. The Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles were not ready to play. The Rams versus the Vikings, the Rams were ready to play. The Vikings were not. So it's very obvious when you see it. The Bills versus the Chiefs were not ready to play. I mean, Josh Allen was uncomfortable in that first drive. He settled down a little bit, but he was uncomfortable. The Kansas City Chiefs, they didn't look really ready to play. The Philadelphia Eagles, they came out the gate. Even that first drive that was robbed from them with the offensive pass interference that even Tom Brady right off the bat was like, I don't like that call. I mean, they were going for it. They were going for it. And Jalen Hurts, you knew he was on one. I mean, the throws that he was making, he was on one. This team was ready. The defense was ready. And the fact that they came out the gate even in the second half and then stopped Patrick Mahomes in that first drive. How many times have we seen games, right, where the score is like 24-0 or, it's a healthy lead. And now the other team gets the ball back. And because it's really hard to imagine that the Kansas City Chiefs in the second half score a touchdown. So now it's 24-7. And would it have shocked a Philadelphia Eagles fan to have the Eagles now go 3-and-out, maybe a first down, and then a stop, and now they punt, and then the Chiefs can march, the Chiefs can score again, and then boom, just like that. It's a 10-point game. It's 24-14. The pressure goes back to the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, like, that happens all the time. We see that all the time. And now it's a 10-point game. It probably would have been like 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. I mean, it would have been perfect for the Kansas City Chiefs. They would have been very comfortable. They would have been fired up. But they came out the second half and were like, no. There's times that I'm saying, run the ball, run the ball. Jalen Hurts is like, nah, man. Throws a dime to Devontae Smith. Boom. 34-0. I mean, that's Nick Sirianni. keeping this team ready, letting them know, yo, we are up. That's great. Don't lose focus for a second. I mean, this team just brought it, man. And I really want to give all the credit. I mean, not all the credit, but I want to give a ton of credit to the coaching staff as a whole. Nick Sirianni, Fangio, Kellen Moore. You know, we saw on the broadcast that Fangio played, you know, his Super Bowl loss to the team, to the defense, and how it was like, you know, you could hear a pin drop. That's how quiet it was. So much of sports is being able to understand how to control and manipulate emotion and how to really, you know, really use it to your advantage. How to bring that passion, how to bring some joy, how to harness the anger, the hatred, the sadness, the doubt. I mean, it's all connected. It's why so many people connect to sports. It's why people even like shows like Hard Knocks. I mean, it's the same season every single year. You know what I mean? Like with Hard Knocks, even football as a whole, all sports are the same. I mean, seriously, all the takes that I had throughout this year, I could just repeat them all next season. I mean, it's very cyclical, but there's so much emotion connected to it. There's so much passion. It's why we love it, man. It's why we crave it. It's why these athletes, it's why we as fans, we cry when they win. We cry when we lose. You know, it's just everything. Coaches know how to harness that. Now, you also need the X's and the O's because there's plenty of coaches. Like, I can harness that. I'm a very emotional person, and I feel like I can lead a lot of people. But I won't know the X's and O's as much as like Kellen Moore or Fangio. So you need to do it all. And you have some coaches, lots of coaches, who are brilliant at the X's and O's. They can't do the other stuff. So their team understands the plays. They understand what they need to do, but they don't have that energy. Or they lose focus. They have issues. And you're talking about a lot of people in the locker room. There's always going to be issues. There's always going to be fights. You ever fight with your brother, your mother, your sister, your father, your son, your daughter, whatever? Your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Like, it always happens. And it's going to happen in a locker room. It's going to happen a lot. It's going to happen a bunch of times. Coaches know how to manage all of that. I mean, Nick Sirianni was about to be fired. Now he's a Super Bowl winner. I mean, that's just wild, man. That's just wild. People wanted him gone. Gone. They were talking about firing him and hiring Bill Belichick this season. You know, there was talks about Bill Belichick having a buyout, that if the Philadelphia Eagles lose versus the Packers or the Rams, that they could, you know, that he can forgo UNC and go to the Eagles. Now he's a Super Bowl winner. It's just extraordinary, man. I mean, that's inspiring. That's the beautiful thing about this Philadelphia Eagles team. They got so many people that could inspire you and motivate you. Jalen Hurts' story, Saquon Barkley's story, Nick Sirianni's story, Kellen Moore, Fangio. I mean, this is the group of guys that nobody wanted. Jalen Carter's story. Like, seriously, all these guys. A.J. Brown. The Philadelphia Eagles really only have a couple players that people like wanted, you know? That they were like, I want this guy. Give me this guy. Outside of that, they were like, no, you could have Jalen. No, you could have Saquon. Sirianni, sure, if you want him. I mean, for sure. I mean, the Miami Dolphins couldn't get rid of Fangio fast enough. And they're the Miami Dolphins were like, he's mean to us. He's too hard on us. And Kellen Moore just gets fired. The Dallas Cowboys offense was better without him. So people say, oh, the Chargers, they got rid of him fast. Yeah. Wasn't it funny the Miami Dolphins had Fangio? Defense never looked that good. Kellen Moore was with the Dallas Cowboys. Offense never looked that good. That's what happens when you get put in a supportive environment. That's what happens when you have an amazing, super genius GM who puts the right players on the team. That's what happens when you have an unbelievable owner in Jeffrey Lurie, who knows how to delegate, who knows how to hire the right people, who knows when to butt in, when to not, when to be like, hey, man, hey, I'm a super rich guy. I know business. I know stuff. I know people. I don't know who should be the quarterback. I'm going to give you guys that freedom to make that decision. That's what a smart person does. Not a lot of, not a meddling owner like we see in all these other teams. The New York Giants owner could have said, yo, keep Saquon Barkley. He didn't. He said, I would have a tough time sleeping. Bro, Saquon Barkley, Super Bowl winner. I know Philadelphia Eagles fans all, for years had to listen about how Dak Prescott's a top quarterback in the NFL. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles now have 2 Super Bowl wins since Dak Prescott has been drafted. And the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott have 2 playoff wins. He has the same number of playoff wins as the Philadelphia Eagles have Super Bowl wins. Oh, brother. That's hilarious. I mean, it is. It doesn't get much funnier than that. It really doesn't. Everyone doubting Jalen Hurts, saying that this Eagles team would be better if Jalen Hurts was better, and, he holds his team back. Well, he was a Super Bowl MVP. He's the MVP. Jalen Hurts is the MVP. And that bro didn't waver. He was not shook. He wasn't shook at all. And again, he didn't have a run game. He was forced to throw. Boy, did he throw. And when he needed to run, he ran. And he broke free. He broke through. He got some huge pickups with his legs, breaking the record, Super Bowl record for most rushing yards. You can't ever doubt Jalen Hurts. You can't ever doubt Jalen Hurts. Listen, Nick Sirianni will continue to get doubted. I promise you that. I promise you that. Just wait. The Eagles have a slow start. They're 3-3 or something next year or something. It'll be like, Sirianni. Now that they lost Kellen Moore, you just wait. The beautiful thing is that Fangio is most likely going to stay with the Philadelphia Eagles forever. He's going to probably just retire. He's happy being a DC. He's not going to want to be a head coach, at least not to my knowledge, based on what I'm hearing. Pretty much what, Andy Reid has with Spags. So that's a grand slam. You would have want Jeffrey Lurie to try to keep Kellen Moore to be like, bro, I'll make you the highest paid OC. But I get it. Kellen Moore is going to want to be a head coach. And you know what? If you run an offense and win a Super Bowl, it's like, tip your hat and say thank you. You can't even be mad about it. You just be like, yeah, thank you, man. We owe it. We owe you. We owe you the world. And so now it's going to be another OC for Jalen Hurts. Yet again. 40-22 second Super Bowl win in team history. Philadelphia Eagles 16th team to win a Super Bowl, to win multiple Super Bowl titles since 99. Guys, it's 4:15. I haven't slept at all in the morning. 4:15 in the morning. Good stuff. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles dominating the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22? Oh my God. I know people. I know a lot of Philly fans are going to tattoo that number on them or something. So, but let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.